Earth is about to change drastically in 2025. And this is because all of the outer planets will be in different signs. Not only are they going to be in different signs, they're all in different elements now. So, what are an outer planet? That is Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. Outer planets are such slow moving planets that they impact generationally. Okay. They're like the soundtrack to the collective energy. So, Pluto was in Capricorn. Neptune was in Pisces and Uranus is in Taurus. Neptune is still in Pisces. So this is earth and water. These are feminine signs. Yes, Capricorn is a feminine sign. If I get one more comment that is masculine, I will lose my mind. Earth and water are feminine. Okay. So they are in feminine sign. Feminine energy we receive, we experience. Okay. Now, Pluto just moved into Aquarius in 2024. Neptune will be bouncing back and forth from Pisces and Aries in 2025, starting in March, like March 30th, so end of March. And Uranus will be bouncing back from Taurus and Gemini in 2025 to 2026, okay? And this will start in July of 2025. This is now masculine energy. This is fire and this is air. Masculine energy, we take action, okay? It's very external. We want to change our environment instead of receiving information from our environment. Think about earth as being very earth things, money. Air is very much technology and information, right? Water is very much feeling, intuition, creativity, and fire is very much actively changing things, creating things externally. So I'm going to break down each one of these planets. Not only are these planets shifting signs, Saturn is also shifting signs into Aries with Neptune. Okay. And it again will retrograde back and forth from Pisces and Aries in 2025 and will stay in 2026. So let's just start with Neptune moving into Aries. If we broke down Aries as a sign, it's the individualistic sign. It is around the self. It is around passion. It's around impulsivity. It's around drive. It's around war and anger. Okay. Neptune. Neptune is the planet of unity. It is the collective emotion we all experience. Neptune is the planet that understands that we all came from the same consciousness, okay? And we replicated ourselves. So what Neptune wants to do is for us to awaken spiritually, understand that, experience that unconditional love, and merge back together, which is why Neptune rules over unconditional love, but also illusions and delusions and fantasy, because Neptune will do anything in its power to feel that connection. It will chameleon into things. And so that's why we're seeing on Earth right now, as Neptune's in Pisces, its home sign, many people just craving that community and allowing themselves to live in an illusion, a fantasy, just so they can feel connected. So if Neptune gets into the sign of Aries, there's going to be a strength to this and there's going to be a shadow energy to this. I see the shadow playing out as people are going to be very self-driven, especially when Saturn moves into Aries with Neptune the first 3 years, because Saturn is around where we want to master and take responsibility and our own careers. And I think a lot of people are in a shadow perspective is going to blur themselves with the collective and almost feel entitled to take, entitled to spread lies just so their own power and greed. Okay. This kind of mimics Pluto and Aquarius as well. So they are willing to put out lies and delusions to feed people for their own gains, which we are already seeing. Now, the higher side of this is people's illusions and fantasies that they might have been living in, that they might have been programmed in their whole life, especially with Pluto being in Capricorn for so long, so around the patriarchy and consumerism and all of that. That is going to be burnt up, right? So Neptune's illusions are going to dissolve by the fire of Aries, and people are going to have more drive to go out and change the collective. Okay? Think spiritual warriors. Aries is the warrior. Neptune is spirituality. More people are going to fight for the collective. On top of this, with Saturn being in Aries and Neptune, more people are going to start their own businesses, especially spiritual businesses, healing businesses, spiritual pursuits. They're going to be in that entrepreneur mindset because Aries literally rules entrepreneurship. There's going to be higher risk financially, things like that. boldness. Now, the shadow again is impulsivity. People might jump on things too quickly. And as a collective, we need to be patient with the change that will be coming, because I promise you, positive change will be coming. And I'm highly optimistic. So that is where this is coming from. I have a Jupiter in Sag. So, as you can see with Neptune moving in Aries, there's going to be a big gap. People out for themselves, feeding misinformation, more and more people waking up to misinformation. And this aligns with exactly what just came out in the news, that there are certain social media platforms that will no longer be fact checking. Okay, well, think about that. If people are no longer fact checking, other countries can infiltrate people's social media and spread lies that can create war on a collective level. And secondly, it can create disdain and polarization within your own community, which we're already seeing. And what's interesting was when Neptune was in Aries last was the American Civil War and the dissolve of slavery. And it was also the women suffrage. And so think about what's going on right now. Once again, women having to fight for their rights over their bodies, that being up for even debate right now in the courts. We have racism at an all-time high due to leaders validating it, right? So now let's go into Uranus and Gemini. And this will start July 7th, I believe, in 2025. With Uranus, this is the planet of rebellion, destabilization, because it really wants us to awaken to what's not working here on Earth, which is why it creates unexpected change. It rules over electricity. It will send a lightning bolt, a shock, and we will change from it. Okay. So in modern day astrology, Uranus rules over Aquarius. That's why they kind of similar energies. And Pluto is in Aquarius. Aquarius is around humanitarian rights. Aquarius is around community, collective energy, which is why we are going to have so much revolution happening in the next decade when we know change will happen. Because we have Aries, this war energy, this ability to fight, this drive to fight. Why we have Uranus wanting to rebel and Pluto and Aquarius wanting to have more collective living, humanitarian rights, all at the same time. Do you see what I'm saying? Like things are going to change no matter what, because it's masculine. We want to take action. We want to get out in our world and change things. So Uranus being in Gemini, it wants to change media. There's going to be a revolution around media. Traditional media is no longer. We already see that with the news. It's completely falling off. We know a lot of it's propaganda now. Individual creators is going to be more from a news outlet perspective. We are probably going to see a rise in technology in the sense of AI, but also virtual realities becoming more and more apparent. Take it or leave it. This could be good. This could be bad, right? There's going to be a shadow and a high side to all of this, which leads me into education. Gemini rules over education. The education system will fall. We do know that's going to happen, but I don't know how, right? I have a lot of teacher friends. They're struggling a lot. I have a lot of clients I used to work with kids. They're struggling a lot with the way that it is now. It's all around memorization. It was literally created for kids to be in factories or humans to be in factories and follow those protocols. That is no longer. There's too much access to information now very quickly that things are going to change. Again, I don't know the details to that, but do expect for that to probably shift very quickly. I mean, even think about it. Kids are on laptops. They understand how to do phones at 2, which is very concerning. Personally, it's changing the way kids' brains are. We also, with Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini, there's going to be a blur of technology consciousness, right? Robots, things like that. Now, what I think is going to be really interesting with communication is, yes, there's going to be more virtual communication, but I think there's going to be more telepathic communication, okay? Because Neptune's in Aries. It's around finding your own spirituality. Uranus moving into Gemini, I feel like people are going to develop telepathic skills, which there is a podcast already out on someone who can do this, right? And I think that this is going to become more common as the next generation is born, more nonverbal communication and more telepathic communication. I think that transportation will shift as well. And think about drones, right? People in the police force are already practicing how to use drones to drop Narcan, to assess a situation before they send out people to know how many people, what supplies they need. We see obviously drones on a massive scale right now. No one knows what those are, but it's going to be on a smaller scale as well. We think Amazon delivering packages by drones, right? Drones, space travel, things like that are going to become more common with Uranus moving into Gemini. Uranus moving into Gemini is going to, just like Neptune and Aries, send out fake information. There's going to be a lot of radical information. There's going to be a lot of information, and this is going to overwhelm people. Anxieties are going to be very, very high. Right now is the time to understand how to ground yourself in your own reality. Uranus and Taurus, how do I ground myself? Neptune and Pisces, how do I take care of my mental health? Because when this energy shifts, it's going to be very easy to not know what's real and what's not real. Neptune, right? This illusion. Am I AI? Am I not AI? Am I who I'm listening to real? Are they not real? There's going to be consciousness issues that I think are going to arise in a mental health perspective. So having your grounding tools now is going to be so imperative. So now I don't want a doomsday, but can I predict that a war is coming? Potentially. Why I believe that is the last time Uranus was in Gemini was the war that was going on was World War II. Okay. But it was also when the United Nations was founded. The last time Neptune was in Aries was during the Civil War, right? And when slavery was abolished. Now, Pluto in Aquarius. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius was during the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution. These are massive wars that have happened because, one, to bring the marginalized groups forward, to give people power, to break power dynamics here on Earth. But World War II happened because of a dictator. So with astrology, what we do is we predict things from past, and that's how we can predict. Well, the women's suffrage, Neptune and Aries, we are going through that again. And that's why we could predict that potentially a war. Now, it could be a Cold War, be a technological war, it could be a civil war, it could be a world war. I don't know the details of what could happen, but I could predict that something's going to happen so that we can burn the systems down and rebuild, which is Pluto in Aquarius. So let's get into that. Pluto in Aquarius is a time that's going to be the marginalized groups gaining power. It's demanding revolutionized leaders. With Saturn being in Aries, leaders are going to come forward that we have not predicted. Neptune being in Aries, spiritual leaders. Pluto being in Aquarius, spiritual leaders. There's going to be a lot more leadership of people truly looking out for the collective, no longer their self. But remember, the shadow of Neptune in Aries is self. So there's going to be a battle between the leaders who are power hungry and greedy to the people who really want to uphold community and humanitarian rights. We know with Pluto and Aquarius that more collective living is going to happen. We know with Gemini and Uranus and Pluto and Aquarius, crypto, technology, finances are going to change. So I just find that literally here on Earth, energy is shifting, more action is going to be taken. And I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard to